So if you can go to the next slide. The key part, how do you define? So this is the most important aspect as to when we say state, what does it really mean? And Arthashastra calls it as Saptanga. Sapta is 7, Anga is parts. So there are 7 Prakrutis that are defined for the state power. And primarily it says that Kautilya develops this holistic substantive idea of state power for state capacity for which there is no precedent. There have been a lot of modern texts that have come from Europe or from the other ancient civilization like China, which talk of Machiavelli's text and Chinese text. But there is no precedent in terms of defining state in such a normative way, which is a Saptanga theory. And this is truly an outstanding theoretical accomplishment. Let's see what this means. So any state has these 7 parts to it, or 7 prakrutis to it. So the first and foremost is Swami, which is the ruler or king, and Deshasthana, time and space. The meaning of Swami changes. In today's world, it's all democratic structure, but we still relate what the Swami means. The second is Amatya, which are the ministers, the council of ministers, which run the government, administration, policy, all of that. Janapada, the people, Jana is people, Janapada. Then Durga, fort and fortresses. Obviously, in today's times, that is going to be the capital, the border areas, the integrity of the state, all of that. Kosha, which is the treasury, the economy of the state. Danda, which is army and military. And Mitra, the allies and friends through the foreign policy, the alliances that the state is building. So these are the 7 defining characteristics of any state. And this is what Chanakya is saying, which is another way of looking at how the state as in a normative fashion can be defined. Moving to the next one. Each one of these now plays a role in action. So that's what we are going to see. From the primary of this is the Swami. In Indian context, obviously Prime Minister becomes the ruler, even if the word ruler in democratic context has no meaning. But from the construct perspective, we understand what the Prime Minister's role is. But let's quickly look at the other aspects like Amatya. These are all the ministers, and now start relating each one of these in the Indian context. How do you reflect upon the Council of Ministers that are currently there in the Modi government? The Janapada, the development works and welfare programs working relatively corruption-free environment to serve the people, because that gives the strength to the Swami, that gives the strength to the Amatyas. Durga, which is all about fortification of capital cities, state capitals, key cities, towns. We have seen significant reduction of terrorist activities happening in India after 2014. That's the testimony of that. The Kosha, which is expanding economy. I don't think I need to add much about it. We are all witnessing it. We are all experiencing it. The resurgence of the economy and the march forward. Then comes the Danda, which is maintenance of law and order, the entire defense establishment. And then lastly comes the Mitra. This is where another substantial change that we all have witnessed and seen, and we continue to see in terms of the network of alliances and international relationships and consistent diplomatic engagement across the world. Now,
so if I may add one thing. See, if we look at the condition of the state, the Indian state, through the lens of this Saptanga model that Chanakya has articulated in the Arthashastra, what we can readily understand, readily see, is that at every one of these prakritis, India has developed itself, has advanced itself, has fortified itself, has become much more stronger, has strengthened itself, right? It's, you could almost easily wonder if, is that an accident? Or is the thinking behind statecraft aligned with the principles of the Arthashastra? Okay. So this is an important part of how to understand. Operation Sindoor is a consequence of the developing, expanding strength of the Indian state across all of these dimensions. And by the same token, you can also evaluate Pakistan as a state through the same Saptanga model. In fact, the Saptanga model offers us an objective framework to assess the relative strengths and weaknesses of any modern state. Even United States of America can be subjected to an analysis of this Saptanga theory, and it will yield very good insights about the nature of the state.